Here we are with a black plastic pointer to break up the old lume. You can see what starts to happen. The plastic starts to break down and leave bits of plastic on the dial. The plastic comes from the tip when put under the pressure of trying to remove the old lume. A very real concern is that the amount of pressure needed to overcome the flexing of the plastic point can be enough to loosen or even break off one of the indexes from the dial. Next, I tried brass tweezers, which work, but are risky to use so close to the dial's finish. The brass is hard enough to easily break up the lume, but the fine tips can cause unintended damage. I will say the tweezer points allow one to get in close and tight to get lume out of the cracks and crannies. You might ask why not use an X-Acto knife, and that is a valid question. The problem with the knife blade is the most common knife blade has a very sharp tip that will dig into the metal and skip around when you try to scrape the index with it. Perhaps a dull blade may be good at scraping off the old lume, but without a sharp edge that would dig into the metal. You can see when the tweezer tips are pushed against the lume, it just flakes away, unlike with a plastic tip tool where it just smashes the lume into chunks, while effective. Tweezers can damage the dial surface with a ding or a scrape across the surface if you make a mistake in using them. A tool I tested was a homemade tool using a bamboo skewer and superglue. I took the skewer and made a sharp wedge tip, and then dipped it into thin superglue and let it dry. This gave a nice edge to help clean the crud off the top of the indexes and clean up where the old lume was attached. The wide tip worked much better than the thin tweezer at scraping away the last parts of the old lume. I then tried removing the old lume without using the tweezers first. It does work, but like with the plastic tip, you need to be aware of how much pressure you are placing on the index. You can see with this index how well the skewer worked as a mechanical cleaner for the top surface of the index in preparation to use a chemical cleaner later on. It was able to remove a lot of the crud that was attached to the surface of the index. I then tried using the skewer with a sideways motion on the lume, and that worked well to break up the lume without the need of excessive pressure being applied to the index.